that publicly has been discussed. His own lawyers have been out there trying to get in front of this, but now there's more on Adam Schiff, according to this individual that was on the news, the Fox. He said that they're going to be using all of the tools that they have in their system to get the facts. There has been information released last week about a Democratic whistleblower who alleged that Schiff had approved leaking classified information to hurt Trump. I told you about this. This gentleman is a Democrat, works for the Democrats, didn't like what he heard about the attempt to dismantle a sitting president. And when this individual was speaking about that, Ed Martin brought on to the program, all in the name of mortgage fraud, this other information came up that reaffirming that there's somebody in the background who's a whistleblower on this whole thing about Russiagate. But that wasn't all Martin said they were looking into. As far as J6 goes, January the 6th, Bartiromo asked about the House Select Committee. And Martin said, oh, we're all into that too. He claimed a lot of people did not get a pardon that were involved in the Select Committee. And they ought to be keeping their eye on their mailbox because there's a lot about to be asked. Let me repeat that. That's a quote again. I want to make sure I heard it correctly. A lot of people did not get a pardon that were involved in the Select Committee. And they ought to keep an eye on their mailbox because there's a lot to be asked. That's interesting because the pardon covers members of Congress on the committee staff, police from the D.C. Metropolitan Police, and the Capitol Police who testified. So, who is he referencing? Right? I mean, that's a question for all of you. We don't know. But whoever it sounds like, they should get ready to face a grilling, or possibly even more than that. Then, too, Bartiromo noted, there are questions about the auto pen scandal, whether some of those Joe Biden pardons are even valid. Martin is also a pardon attorney. Of course he is. Of course he is. Looking into those questions, and he said, quote, the pardons were unlike anything in the history of America, not because of the question of the auto pen. Martin also said something about faking him. Biden out of the memos. Faking Biden out. Misleading him, the president. More to come. Promising that the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, had let him loose on this issue when it comes to J6, when it comes to the mortgage fraud, when it comes to Russiagate. Go get them. Break out the popcorn. Because this sounds like it's finally going to be fun to watch with a ton of real action. No wonder the likes of Hillary Clinton trying to get on the right side of Donald Trump saying, if he pulls this off between Russia and Ukraine, and it looks like he will, I will personally nominate him for the Nobel Peace Prize. Talk about getting on his good side before the axe falls on her neck. These are tantalizing things that he may not be able to speak about, Ed Martin, right now. But we've all been waiting a long time for accountability. And the accountability looks like it may lead off with Adam Schiff. Because Adam Schiff has got three things hanging over his head. Three. What he did at the very beginning of Russiagate, what he did with the mortgage fraud, and his involvement in J6. So, even he may have some kind of a pardon or blessing or covering on the J6 committee. There's still a lot there that could be hung around his neck. And I might also add, the Weaponization Working Group and Ed Martin, the same gentleman, is talking about other investigations into Adam Schiff. And I neglected to mention, in the same breath, he's also investigating the Attorney General from New York, Letitia James. She may be in some very hot water. So things are about to get wacko. whole thing in Russiagate and everything else. What I think this week is going to be a rock'em sock'em week, and you're not going to miss any of this program, I hope.